right now. Hey everybody, I'm Captain Gherkin,
I'm Captain BD Datum.
and we're going to be taking you through what we call warp coding. So it's kind of a process. We'll take you around the world. So you want to start off with Blueprint?
Yeah, so Blueprint is, think of it like an empty project. Like whenever you run Vite on React, you get an empty project with all your dependencies already installed and the project's ready to go.
Yeah.
Or like Django has a empty project where you can run Django as a Django project.
Yeah, it's like start project. Like there's a start project and start app, somewhere there. They got scaffolding tools.
Yeah. But it gets you to a baseline of my folder structure is created, my dependencies are created, and I can go ahead and run the app and see a hello world screen.
That's right. And the only thing we add for, and we're going to be talking about warp coding in general, right?
Yeah.
Because we believe warp coding is like beyond vibe coding. We have a certain structure to it. So Blueprint's just one thing. And just so you know, we add BDD to it. What were you going to say?
Yeah. And also think about a blueprint like you're laying down an opinionated tech stack.
Mm-hmm.
So the AI goes in with following your opinions. Like one way, talk about the bees. Like how do beekeepers lay out honeycombs?
Oh yeah, yeah. So like if you keep bees and you take these wax sheets, they're printed with like this little hexagonal, perfect hexagons, right? And you slide that into like a beehive,
Yeah.
they'll keep building on that exactly like that. If you don't do that, a natural beehive is a little bit more organic and it moves around, kind of gets weird shapes. So basically, the lesson learned that we're really trying to tell you about right here is Blueprint. You're going to work with the AI, you're going to be coding very fast, and you want to lay down some very definitive opinions about where do you want to put things.
Yep.
And so, like, just a simple example, if you ask the AI to add features, a features folder to your app,
Mm-hmm.
it might put it in different levels of your app. And then you say add step. Anyway, so there's things you tell the AI to do. If you don't lay it down, it won't. Okay, so let's move to the next, right?
Yep. Context.
All right. So a lot of YouTubers out there, they're catching on. Most people are catching on. You're using, AI to help you code. You start adding like markdown documents and API documentation and things like that.
Yeah, and another way to think about it is also like the context of your project. What am I trying to build? What am I trying to accomplish? Context comes in many shapes and sizes, like markdown folders
Mm-hmm.
or like flow charts,
Yeah.
or just basically saying, hey, I want to build a train station booking app.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, it's just like, here's all the components, and then it'll use that. Now, we take it a step further with.
Well, with our liftoff tool, and then our liftoff tool ultimately adds feature files. So we're really big on top-down design to keep the AI in track, and we're going to show you that tool. It's kind of like a little secret thing that elevates it from not just unit tests, not just this is what I want to build and to-do lists,
Yeah.
but to that next level. You're going to see how all those come together as signals.
What's a feature file?
So we'll get into that a little bit, but when you talk about BDD, which is behavioral driven design, and you're on the context step, one of the biggest context you can give it is basically user stories, and they're in a very specific format. They're in the Gherkin format, and it's just we've noticed that it keeps the AI on track so much better to have those high level features.
Captain Girk.
Yeah, so Captain Gherkin is a play on words on BDD, and BD Datum is as well. So that's how big we are in it. We named ourselves after it. Yeah, so the BDD feedback warp loop.
Yeah, so the BDD feedback work loop is really fun because it uses Gherkin feature files, and then steps is where it actually ties a sentence in the feature file to the actual code. So you're writing code based on the story you're telling in your feature files or user stories. So it gives you a level of here's the code explicitly what it's supposed to do for my user. And then more importantly, with the warp loop, it allows you to test it. So we use behave in Python where you're able to run behave and it tests and runs the code that map to your feature files. And then it tells you whether the code passes or fails.
It's kind of like PyTest is in Python is how you do unit tests,
Yeah.
right? Behave is that to Python. Did I say that right? So no,
Behave is that to BDD.
yeah. Sorry to be so yeah. So PyTest is to unit test as behave is to behavioral driven design.
Yep.
And we're going to show you that live. And it's also a little bit of an autocoder. So the warp loop is able to like go through a huge portion of your code without asking you questions and rip through your code.
Yeah.
And
It just full send.
yeah, and just so you know, it's not all auto coding, vibe coding the whole time, right? This is the next level where it's very structured, but we still pull out a warp, and then get down to business, and look at the code and get in there. So let's talk about complexity shields.
Yeah, so complexity shields, for those programming for a while, like cytomatic complexity, that measures how complicated your code is. A simple way to think about it is how many steps are you doing in a function?
Yeah,
Like if you do one step and this function does X, then it's a pretty low complexity. With packages like Radon, it would be score of an A. But if you have a function that does XYZ, then it gets more complex. It's doing more steps,
So-
and the code gets more complicated.
here's how I like to think about it. So like when I get vibe coding, or even more bigger than that, warp coding, right? And I'm going at it, or even if I'm just doing it manually, sometimes my files just get so long, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of other YouTubers, I see them out there saying, putting rules in for cursor that say, don't make something more than 500 lines long. That's a cool way to keep your complexity low, right? If it gets more than 500 lines, why don't you think about refactoring it? So cyclomatic complexity, it's a fancy word I just learned a month ago. It's so cool. It's a cool concept, right?
Yeah.
But the concept's real. Instead of just judging like how many lines of code you've got, it's like how many paths are actually running through your code? How maintainable is that code? Your function, your class, the whole module level, right? And so there's a tool called Radon for Python, and there's other tools for PHP. There's tools, SonarQube pretty much does all the languages. There's tools that give you a report of just how out of control of maintainability's gotten. And it's a really good thing to like stop and think about. And
Yeah.
I'm not very disciplined, so you want to kind of put that in your warp loop.
Definitely. Yeah, and one piece that I want to touch on with cytomatic complexity and just BDD feedback is
Okay.
every piece of the code is tested.
Yeah.
And you get to get direct feedback, and more importantly, feedback that goes into the context in which the AI can read it and understand that the challenges the code base is facing and your project are facing.
Yeah. And it's, we're not just talking about code coverage for code coverage sake.
Yeah.
We're talking like meaningful top-down coverage from the features, some amount of bottom-up unit testing,
Yep.
kind of like bring those two together, and just like a lot of signals. And the shield of keeping things not overly complex, the signals you get from like a radon or a test like a metric like that is just another signal.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to be disciplined and wrap all that up in your loop. So, and then let's talk about so we come out of warp, we slow it down, and like we talk about landing on the planet, right? Come back down to Earth a little bit. And so that's really a lot of we're past. How are we doing on time?
I never started
You
it.
didn't start the time. I think we talked way past our number of minutes for this section, but we'll move on just a second to show you some of this stuff real. So, but landing is where you come back out, you spend time with the AI tool and say, explain what's been going on. You look through the code, maybe you debug it line by line. You need to know your code.
Yeah, but most importantly, you also run it to see if it worked.
Absolutely. Sorry.
Which is like the most fun part, because when you're warp coding, like it's making all these decisions, and then all of a sudden you can see your behave score of like, oh, all your features pass, all your scenarios pass, and you're like, well, let me see if it works even.
Yeah.
And you run the app.
Yeah, because okay. So let's show you. Let's you ready to jump in and kind of show something?
Yeah.
All right. So we could try to go build whatever. But let's just start our tools. So I want to remind you, we said there was, let's see. Oh yeah, we don't have it up anymore. But we said blueprint, right?
Yep, ignition.
Okay. So here we are just
And right now he's just laying down the project.
yeah, so let's just talk about Aider. Like we use Aider all the time,
Yep.
right? I mean, if we're not using Cursor, we're using Aider. We're just getting new to Cursor, but I still like Aider a lot.
Yeah, I'm not locked in, and it's open source.
Yeah, so it's Aider Chat. Aider.chat is our website. You can learn how to install it and run it. Okay, so like if I want to use, and then the models that you get to pick, like Gemini has been outstanding for the dollars and the intelligence.
Oh yeah.
Sonnet
Great
3.7
meth
is Sonnet 3.7 is still good too.
Oh yeah, of course.
So
It's more expensive though.
yeah, it's
And if you look at the Polygot leaderboard,
you want to look at the Polygon leaderboard?
yeah. So one way when using models and coding, like
Okay.
you could actually look at how intelligent the model is to the cost, and then Aider specifically says how intelligent is the model within Aider's framework.
Yeah. So I'll go to Aider.chat. I'll go to their documentation, and then every month new stuff's coming out. We go to the leaderboard, and so if you want to fire off your Aider dash model and like give it this command, you're gonna get a Gemini Pro. You can just type Gemini; it gives you the same model, and it fires it off in a certain way. This is kind of your intelligence right here, and this is your cost. And then if you want to really fire off the latest, I mean, look at that. I mean, O1 GPT 4.1. Wow. It's 10 times more expensive and you do get a bump. Sometimes that bump's worth it.
Yeah, a 10% bump is wild.
That's
significant.
Yeah.
And look at the correct edit format, 100%.
Yeah, I mean,
I've never seen that.
Yeah, that's outstanding. So, but you definitely wouldn't run this one so much because it's even 20 times more expensive than Gemini, and you might as well go here, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, long story short, I really like it when it does it in the diff format, and I love this cost. I love this amount of intelligence. And 3.7 is just right down here, but it's 6 times more expensive than this, and not as intelligent. I don't know. You use the models you want. I don't want to make it a whole show about Aider, but we fire it off a lot. And so when we do dash model Gemini, that's because we want the best model for the least cost.
Mm-hmm.
So, sorry, what was I going to do in here?
Ignition. You got to
yeah.
lay down the blueprint.
Right. So I want to show you how I want to just show you like this, literally this, make me a skinny, bare bones, fast API and add features to it, a features folder, and a steps folder. That's literally my prompt that I used to come over here, and it basically made this whole app structure that we're about to do. And then after I made that, right, I turned it into a tool. So literally I could just do this and it'd probably go make me the folder.
Yep.
Let's try it. I'm going to show you real quick. Looks like I got some cleanup to do there.
Yeah, that's just git cleanup.
So basically it's going to, I could say yes to all this and finish making it, but I'm going to go to bail out of that. Okay. Because what I did after I had that, a good design pattern to say, hey, Aider, you just did all this manual work for me. Mm-hmm. Why don't you make me a little Python utility that'll do that again?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's how we make our Ignite scripts. So I'll show you Ignite for. So I made an Ignite for Fast API.
Hit it.
So boom. So this just did our blueprint. And so this was like 10 minutes of work that I had done with Aider, and I liked what it did. You see how it added our feature files where we wanted? Open that up, and then you'll see steps. So you want to have that in there. And we just ask Aider to create that.
Mm-hmm.
And let's take a look at our app that it made.
It made the main app.
Yeah. So
and of course
we need to jump into the virtual environment that it made us.
Hit it, Captain.
All right. And so I went ahead and told my tool, like, give me all those instructions. So it's like, go ahead and source this up. And all it does is just keep all your Python files in a, these are just standard stuff you'll get used to as a developer. So just want to install all that. And then it gave some other instructions about how to fire the app off, right? So Python app, main app. Let's just show behave real quick. So behave is,
This is the BDD's core.
yeah, this is a very, very important signal. So if you look in your feature files, this kind of made a hello world feature. And what that looks like is, this is kind of what BDD looks like. Okay. So it's just like, you know, you have a feature, and then inside there you have a specific scenario that you want to see. So if you make a request to this hello API, you should see hello world.
Yeah. And because this is our feature scoreboard, we can see one feature passed, one scenario passed, all 4 steps passed. Nothing failed. So in theory, since nothing failed,
This app should work.
we should be able to run this thing.
All right, let's run it. I got it.
Okay, go for it.
Yeah, it's just Python and then -m and then probably app.main. Oh, actually, I think we just run app dot. Okay, I don't have it.
Yeah. Scroll. This is why we like our packages, because
Yeah.
Python-m app.
Oh, okay. Yeah, as a module, you don't quite run it that way. My bad. Right. So now it's running, right? And so basically what that did behind the scenes is main kicked off Uvicorn. Uvicorn's just I think what it is, like a web server for Python APIs, I guess. And so it's trying to serve up this API, which has been annotated. And this is what it should return. And so it's running it on port 8000. And I'm going to hit Command click, open that up. And we're going to see a weird web page, right? This isn't a web app, right? This is what you want to do when you're dealing with a fast API app. It's /docs, and that's going to bring up your Swagger documentation. And you want to try it out? Captain
Yeah,
BD
so it looks like it's working. I can go ahead and try it out. And what I'm expecting from the feature, I just hit execute and boom. Hello.
Yeah.
Code 200. Successful call. We have a working API. We've officially ignited. And
Yeah.
now we get to actually talk about what we want to build. So step 2, context.
Yeah. And our tool for that is liftoff.
Liftoff.
All right. So you want to do the honors? You want to get us into liftoff?
Yeah, so why don't I type it?
So liftoff mission down that you want. It kind of assumes you also kind of want to do like a state diagram and a domain driven design. It might be a little bit heavyweight for this simple project, but let's talk about it. So
Yeah, so liftoff, you set up first, like confirm and enter the main app. Is it liftoff the right one, or is it gonna do Django?
No, it's just sorry. We've been working with Django a lot. It's not going to do Django.
Okay.
It's literally just going to build your document agnostically. It doesn't matter about the technology that you're using. So
Yeah, so for our app we want to build, one thing is we do is like here at the Starship, everything's live. We're live streaming. But in live streaming, I want to create a dynamic name and description based on what we talk about in the episode.
Yeah.
Because it's unscripted. We may go off on a tangent like the whole Aider polygot leaderboard.
Yeah.
And I want the description to capture that. Okay. So YouTube...
will you make it all lowercase?
Yeah.
It's just sort of like just paranoid of capitalization.
Yeah, so YouTube, let's do video SEO.
Okay. Cool. All right.
So we want to back it up.
Yeah, go ahead. Let's get going. Let's do it.
So what is the goal of the application? To build dynamic names. Dynamic. Oh, man.
Yeah. Keyboard messed up on you. we have a little bit of a delay. We're looking at a TV screen while
Yeah,
we try to type.
Title description and hashtags for my live streamed video.
So we're going to go through here, and we have a time budget. We only got about 10 minutes left to show you warping. So we're going to try to get through all the tools.
Yeah, so right now what's happening is I'm actually building the goal and the implementation plan. So if you look in my mission, give it a second, it's committing it. Boom, create an automated system. It's going to talk about manually creation of video metadata. Developing generation tool. So now it's going to properly mark it, and the implementation is around here. I kind of want it to be AI driven based off the transcript.
Yeah, and I don't think we need A/B testing capabilities.
Yep.
Like that's kind of advanced. I'm not into that. I just want like the minimal viable thing.
So I'm going to go ahead and submit my changes, and it's going to go and rewrite all my documentation.
Yeah.
And as you can see,
Do you want analytics? Like I feel like we can get analytics. It's like a whole complicated.
yeah, let's
thing.
take out analytics.
Let's just remove it by hand. So this like we've had this workflow for a while. I noticed OpenAI, their tool just came out. It's all kind of similar. You're seeing a lot of tools where like you just talk to your mission or your project plan. You can edit it by hand, or you can have the AI edit it. This is all coming together for everybody's tools.
Yep.
I don't think there's anything that special, but Captain BD Datum came with the idea like we're already in VS Code. Why don't we just use VS Code for our IDE just to edit here? I thought it was a great idea.
Yeah, it keeps us in our happy place.
Yeah.
And now it's going to actually build a state diagram. A state diagram, think of it, is how the application actually flows in the different states you go through. So as it's building that, let's go ahead and do preview because it looks pretty. Boom. So for this project, it's going to take in a raw transcript. It's going to go through processing, context analyze. It's going to build a title generation, description, hashtags, metadata complete. And then we're going to, of course, want to post it to YouTube so I could actually say that.
I almost feel like, we should tell it.
Oh, yeah,
we want
for
to do
sure.
that step.
So it has the descriptions of each state. It acts transition triggers, which is super important. And this is really valuable information, including business rules.
I'm going to read those real quick. Let's include timestamps. Okay, yeah. So let's just tell it like the final step is we need it pushed up to our YouTube studio or, to affect our. Very cool.
Yeah, and it's automatically going to update it. And what's cool about this is it not only is we're prompting the AI to build it, it's also prompting us to think about our project more deeply.
That's so true. Because like when I see what it's showing me, and you know what? Before we move on though, how would it know which video to go get? Is it going to ask us? Do we provide a URL?
That is a very good question.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think about the start and the end, and then all the middle is usually like, what should we do there? I wonder if you just ask it a question like, yeah, we want to make a change, and say, what should we do about telling the program which video we want to work on? Maybe it'll just come with an idea.
Send it.
All right, so what should we do to tell the program what video we are starting with? I don't know. Let's just pose a question. Maybe it'll have an answer. Okay, video selection. That's a great starting state condition.
Yeah.
Video.
Yeah. Thank you.
I mean, to me, I would think like, just give it an ID. So let's see, business rules. Okay. So let's go take one more look. it's really important to get these rules right, right?
Yeah.
So,
Video selection.
okay, yeah. So we just provided video ID.
And then, of course, my favorite,
What?
the flowchart.
Oh, absolutely. Sorry, I didn't
Yeah,
mean,
you ever want to make like your boss or anything super happy? Show a flowchart. They
Okay.
love it.
yeah, I love it too. All right. I'm good with that. So, and then the last one is like domain modeling. Like, if you need to store state, if your application is going to go to that level of like storing state somewhere, like a database or anywhere, you're also, even if you're not storing state, you have to think about like, how are you going to program these objects? Even
Yeah.
if they're just staying in memory and running through memory. We're big into, pedantic type classes and stuff like that when we're in Python. And all this AI stuff works real good in the background. Let's see. So structure, so these are all our value objects. And then the higher level entities is the video would contain like all of these multiple value objects, right?
Yeah, all the metadata we generate.
And then the domain services, these are all good, like best practice concepts that you might as well map out and just take a moment to see, does it look right?
Yeah. And this also goes into all the context for the AI to follow. This goes on into the honeycomb patterns for the bees.
Yeah.
We're laying down those hexagons for it to build exactly how we want it.
Okay. So it's got more business rules, kind of repeating itself. As long as they line up, I think I'm okay with just repeating that. You good?
Yep.
Okay.
Send it.
Okay. So now the really nice part's going to happen. BD datum, what's happening?
Well, Captain Girk, this is the most exciting part. It's building the features based off all that information. And these features it's building are super rich. It's not only going to include the user journey based off our state diagram, it's also going to include the business rules. And when it gets to the domain services, it's going to have the actual metadata in the features. So let's go ahead and look at this.
Okay.
So on the API step, it talks about the endpoints. Great.
Well, you're in the steps. Can we go up to features?
Oh, wow. I'm already in. Oops.
Yeah. Because we didn't really want it to make the steps. Steps are the actual automated QA portion, but you want to look at in your features folder. There's going to be things like .feature files, and if you're not getting the color coding, just go over to your extensions and add what's called Cucumber Gherkin.
Yep.
There's a very popular. Let's just show that real quick. The way we get the colors is, 1 second.
Right there. It's the third one.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. So this one right here, given when then, Cucumber Gherkin, just install that and you'll get these beautiful color coding. Okay. Sorry. Back to you.
Boom.
Datum?
So metadata generation. Back to the state diagram. What's it going to do? Generate complete metadata package. So in the scenario, first there's some background. Well, as a system, I want to generate video metadata so I can provide optimized content descriptions. So given the API is running and content analysis has been completed. So we've already digested the transcript and done some analysis.
That's super important. Like the state diagram that we thought through earlier helps you smooth out like what is the background, what's already happened, what's about to happen, right?
100%.
I mean, it's so important.
Nice.
It's so important.
Yeah, it's so nice. And then with the scenario, generate complete metadata package. When metadata generation begins, then it should create a title of under 100 characters. That was our business rule. And it has it. And generates all the relevant hashtagging, all that stuff. Generates the title.
Hold on, you glossed over one thing. The processing state to metadata complete. That's really awesome in a state diagram. You get to that, you're kind of handing the baton over to like the next feature that's going to run.
Oh, yeah.
Like chaining those together. These, I don't think we can stress it enough. Like without this in the AI's ear, again and again and again, it can get off track.
100%.
So
it's all about those honeycombs.
Yeah.
Yeah, then generate the title, generate description, generate hashtags. So if you think about it, these are each individual pieces where it generates the information. And this is like, did I complete all this stuff?
Right.
And then transcript processing. That one's pretty nice. APIs running, a valid YouTube video has been selected. This is like top of the state diagram going in. Is it available? Can I process it? Handle missing?
And real quick, so this is called the Gherkin language.
Yeah.
Okay. And one thing to just keep in mind is this background, once you say it, it's basically every scenario in this whole file. It has those 2 sentences from the background appended to it.
Yep. Love that. Yeah, so these are our features. So typically we would want to actually go through this a little longer. But for time's sake, we're just going to go ahead and accept everything.
Yeah.
And get into try coding.
And a big prompt we do on those features often is say, hey, make them simpler, make it bare bones MVP.
Mm-hmm.
So it really helps like shrink those features as much as possible before you get going.
Yeah. So, Travis.
Let me do one thing. I'm going to try Coder 2 to... Let's see if I can do this. I've been wanting to rename this.
What's CP?
Copy. Just like
a
Linux copy command.
Got it.
All right. So, oh, wait. I'm baffled. Sorry. You know what? I'll just go do it. I'll just go do it by hand. Am I in, okay.
Yeah, so right now we're actually gonna be doing the tricoder. So it's gonna run those features and then try and build it.
Oh yeah, it did copy it for me. Like I don't know what I was so upset about. And I think I'm in the right Python. Okay, yeah. I just want to make sure I was in my virtual environment. That's just a thing while you're going. And then I don't understand why Rich isn't installed. So I'm just going to install Rich real quick. So you notice those little squigglies up there?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Or
I don't know.
password.
Yeah, I guess maybe. All right.
Captain.
I'm not gonna worry about it too much.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and rip tricoder.
Okay.
Coder.
All right, I'm gonna rip warp
loop. Excuse me.
All right, and then we've got a fast API kind of thing set up. So basically, what we are doing here.
Let's full screen it.
Yeah, I will. Let me hit escape. Okay, you ready? So basically, this is kind of like I don't know. Cursor kind of has like an auto coder,
yeah,
type thing. So this is kind of like auto coder as well, and so it's going pretty fast, right? And so what it does is it's adding in the architecture, your mission, your state diagram, all that stuff.
All that context we created.
Yeah, you know something we forgot to go do? Go do a little bit of research on YouTube APIs and put it in our system knowledge or put it in.
Yeah, well, let's have it rip through and see what we get.
Yeah, so basically it's loading all those up, and you notice that, and it's using Aider to automatically load those up, analyze the project, right? This is pretty good. So this is what it's doing with all that. It's like, here's what we need to implement.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I kind of you know what we also forgot to do?
Architecture.
Auto document our architecture. Do you want to stop it and give it architecture?
I say we let it go a little bit.
Yeah, it should be able to figure out our file structure. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, so it's ripping through it and kind of understands your project already, even without the architecture document. But that would be good to have, right? To keep it more on track.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't like the way it's picking up some of our other tools.
Yeah.
I swear I get ignored those. And okay, but it's getting into it. So let's just get to the bottom and see where it's going with this. So what it's going to do is it's going through our scenarios, right? So it's picking up this scenario called metadata generation, right?
Yep.
And so it's running behave, It's realizing that it hasn't implemented the steps yet, which are automated tests, and it's going to get to work, right? So it's trying to write some tests to connect to real code, right?
Yeah, so if you go back to the steps, it's like given content analysis has been completed. Right here, it's actually writing the real code.
Yeah, and that's exciting. And it's staying on track with the signals from the BDD.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing saying that you can't also add steps from the unit test, steps from a screenshot, steps from the server. Like all of these signals are what makes up a good warp loop instead of just vibe coding.
Definitely. Staying on the honeycombs.
Yeah.
So then it went ahead and actually implemented those steps.
You know, you know what? There is one thing. Okay, hold on, let's read this. Warn. That's okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm
there's
trying to
one
find the
there's one thing
score.
I wanted to do to our warp loop configuration file. Oh, that's cool. Let's talk about that. That's the scoreboard, right?
So this is the scoreboard. So we remember at the very beginning we got to see, in this case, our features. It failed, scenario failed, but 3 steps were implemented. And when we started this, there was nothing implemented. So it's actually wrote code. It tested itself to see how good it was. And then it's going to take this scoreboard, take all this good information of errors or anything, and then try and fix it. Here it failed. And now it's actually writing the fixes.
That's very cool. And right there, I think it's kind of interesting.
Oh, look.
Yeah,
It made progress.
Yeah, it's already making progress. And so what's cool is right here, you see how you get these lines. I can hit Command click, and I can actually realize that when you see this is your feature that talked about it in general, right? Like if I go into this, right? This is the feature file that we discussed earlier. But you know what's really cool? When you start seeing these steps show up, let's go into there. When I click into there, then you can see how is it actually testing this. Now, if it says pass, that means it's not really testing it. So I might want to, but it should fix itself on that. Let's see what else. So here's like a real one, right? So it's going to go spin up, and try to get an actual response from your website or from your API, actually.
Awesome.
So we should have a lot more APIs being written in the background.
Yeah.
So let's whiz on down. Let's see.
And this thing just goes.
Yeah, it just goes.
It's been coding. Look, we have a full feature passed.
Okay, yeah. And then so I kind of want to come out of warp. There is a setting that we can say like it's all code, no asks, like less analysis, more doing. Oh, only skips. Okay. It used to be a lot more skipped.
Yeah.
So I don't. So anyway, the scoreboard keeps changing. As long as it's making progress, it's fun to stay in warp. But right. So these numbers jump around, right? This is per feature.
Yep.
Right. So wouldn't mind an overall scoreboard. Okay. So this is what warping looks like. So do you want to wrap up and?
Yeah. Let's go ahead and wrap up. This is the basic concepts, and we'll come back to this project in the next video and be able to actually see, okay, let's land, see what's real, see what's not real, and then give the information to the AI it needs. Like, it's probably going to need some API token, API keys and stuff like that.
But if we, I wouldn't mind landing.
Well, let's go ahead and land.
Right. So let's come out of warp. So it's when you want to kill this, man, you got to really. There we go.
You gotta
go at it to stop it. It's a train. So all right. So let's go back to the diagram real quick. You had that right.
Right there.
Here. Okay. So we just did this warp loop, right? We didn't do like a defense shield. We didn't run radon. Maybe another video we can show you how to put radon back into that. Maybe we could run radon on it just real quick, like pip install radon and run it.
Let's do it.
Okay, and then we'll land. So let's come on over to here. Radon's not installed, but radon is for
cytomatic complexity.
Yeah, and specifically for Python is what radon for. You'd have to find your own other tool for other languages.
Yep.
PHP is different. Okay, so Python, it's kind of a complicated command. I'm trying to remember it.
And keep in mind, if you have trouble with it, you could also ask Aider.
That's right. Always. You know what? I think it's like -A, -C. Let me try. Yeah, I'm just gonna let's go ask Gator. Or any just like you could just go to like Gemini online or whatever. But
But we like to stay in the terminal.
yeah.
And one of my favorite things that I will admit is like vibe coding. But you could ask it with your voice.
Yeah. How to? Okay. All right. You want to do this?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry. You didn't know this was gonna happen, but I need you to put your blindfold on.
Wait, what?
I'm just making you vibe code out.
Oh, this is full vibe code. All right.
All right. And then all right.
How am I supposed to know if it works?
I'm gonna tell you what's happening. All right. Now your voice is on, and you're gonna ask radon.
I need to run radon to see how complex my code is. Tell me how to run it. And I want to run it clean without a ton of feedback. Just show me what's failing.
And don't include the environment. Ignore it.
Use my git ignore.
All right. Let's see. All right. You can lift your.
Was it close? Did it actually pick up my voice?
I don't know, but I'm just.
Okay, that was pretty good.
I just.
Send it.
Oh, but we didn't do /.
We're vibe coding, bro.
Okay. All right. I would skip all that. It's like skip all. Like we're gonna package our tools up in a Okay, hold on. Sorry.
It didn't even do what I wanted.
Yeah.
See, this is another reason. Don't vibe code, warp code.
I just wanted to make you put on that blind.
Yeah. No.
You didn't know
I noticed that. There was a hidden agenda that we did not discuss before the show.
Not sorry. Yeah.
That was like,
no, I'm
full
not
on.
sorry, Captain. Sorry, not sorry. All right.
Karma's a bitch.
I just wanted to make you look like that character in that Coders Are Human.
Oh,
YouTube guy.
Yeah.
Something he would do.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
How to run radon using params and ignore the environment. Let's come on. Give me the command, dude.
Boom.
Oh yeah.
Done.
Okay. Here we go. All right. But usually there's like a minus. I don't know why it's not. Okay. Let's just try any of these. I believe you. I believe you, man. All right. So let's try it, man.
Which one you want to do? Look, they have the maintainability. Oh,
shoot.
this dude's getting crazy.
Yeah.
So let's do this one, and then let's do the maintainability.
I totally like the maintainability index as well. Okay. All right. So here we go. And we can run it right from Aider, by the way. You can just do that.
And what's fun is once you run it.
Okay. So real quick, let's add that all to the context. So let's go over this. F does not mean fail. F means function. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But so what we want to look for is, okay. Well, this is kind of embarrassing. It's rating my my code is the problem. I really,
all in all, though, it's actually pretty good. A's and B's ain't bad. Bunch of C's and commands.
okay. I really just okay. Okay. Sorry. Let's ask again.
Someone's embarrassed. See, this is what did I say? Karma's a bitch.
How to
This is what you get for the blindfold.
just on /app folder. I'm just interested in that folder, right? So how do you run it?
I don't know. I think we're all interested in everything else as well.
Oh, right. Instead of dot, okay, right.
And does that exclude?
No, it doesn't. So I'm gonna do this.
Well, if the environment's not in /app.
Well, that's true. But here we go. Okay, so that's really not much to look at, but this is exciting, right?
But we should really run it on the steps directory.
Okay.
So that's where a lot of our code is.
All right, let's do that. I think if I just add features, I think it'll get to the steps.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Features folder. Okay,
Yep.
yeah. So all these steps, and I wouldn't. Okay, so this is interesting. Like I almost believe like that these steps have been implemented with real automated QA.
Mm-hmm.
And in this case, I'd almost be skeptical of anything that's A1. So like, let's find one. So like step check, like check response content. I bet you that's not even implemented. Let's go.
Let's look.
So check response content. All right. Let's go find that one. I suppose I could just look through the steps. Oh, I see. It's just one big step file. I'm surprised it doesn't have a step folder for like.
Well, keep in mind we killed the warp.
Yeah. That's true. Okay. So. Okay. All right. Well, I think that's an actual. It's loading it from the context. It's checking it. These steps are going to get more complicated, right? So in a real scenario, blah 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 blah. So these are going to get a little more complicated as like you let the warp go.
Yeah.
But let's do the check title length. That's a little bit more or check hashtags, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's going to be something a little more to the test. Okay, yeah. Let's look at this. That's kind of cool. So I think I want my steps to at least be a B. And I
Yeah.
think I want my code to not be like in the D and F range.
Of course.
Yeah. And so, all right. So there's that. And then there's how to run, maintain ability.
Instead of CCMI.
Right. But there's a, okay. It's just, you think it's just literal placement, just MI? Is that what you saw?
That's what I saw.
Okay. Run. Radon.
MI app.
Oh, minus S. All right, cool. So everything's very maintainable right now.
Pretty good.
So to give
we
you,
could play a game and run it on some of the other apps.
well, we could just run it on
Everything.
everything we got here. We're gonna find out that some of my code and your code is. Let's go take a look.
I saw some red up there. It says B. Look at the C0.
Actually,
That has nothing to do with us. That's in Python.
okay.
Those are site packages.
Okay, hold on.
Exclude the environment.
Right. Minus. What?
Is
Sorry.
it dash exclude?
I don't know. I gotta go look at it again. Okay, exclude.
And just change it to CC. I mean CC to MI and take
Okay.
out features.
All right.
Do a period.
All right, let's do that. And I think minus S is this thing is show complexity. So let's see. Nope.
Yeah, take out show complexity.
I'm
and
wrong
just do
about that.
minus S.
Wrong about that. Okay. Come back. Datum. All right. So let's do minus S. Okay. Yeah. So
Not too bad. Actually, pretty bad.
well,
I mean, A tier 24 is not terrible. Let's scroll.
yeah. So
Okay, yeah. So we got some C's. Warp loop, a warp code, non-maintainable. It's a C0.
I mean, I agree. I would start refactoring this right about now. I've been going pretty fast on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know it's not where I'd want it to be. I agree.
Good
I
to
agree with
know.
that.
Yeah.
So anyway, so sorry, we kind of went long on this, but I think it was kind of important. So this complexity, if you were to build that command into your warp loop, which is that's not hard to do at all, add that in and say, hey, by the way, AI, here's where we're looking at. What are you going to do about it?
Take a breath and refactor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Keep it maintainable. Keep it in context.
Okay. So let's go land. Okay. So let's get to landing. So we want to we kind of want to come in here and run our project again, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
This is the most exciting part.
Yeah,
You get to
this-
see what it did.
Yeah, and then I need to remember, let's just ask how to run it. I think we could just fire off main. Okay, all right. How to run the app. I'll just get used to asking the AI, man.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So that's fine. This will run it. I think our main method also runs this pretty well. So let's do it. Cool. It's running. So you want to do the honors? You want to click through and kind of see if we have. Let's see if it added any APIs besides Hello World, right? So once again, we're just making a backend app, right? And oh, cool.
Ooh.
So we got in that short period. Okay.
Try it out.
So it's real basic, right? We're just going to add a
Yeah.
video ID.
Well, let's see what happens.
Right.
See? All
That's
right. Please
very
correct. So that's good.
Let's add a video ID, man. I don't think that's going to fly. Is that going to fly?
It shouldn't, but let's see.
Okay. Well, it did. So we might want to add more business rules. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Did hashtags generated title for?
Okay. So, and you can tell it's mocking it up, right?
Yep.
So when I land and, well, honestly, I just let warp run a lot longer,
Yeah.
right?
For sure.
But something I would do is we landed, we checked it out. That's cool. I mean,
Yeah.
that's kind of cool.
I mean, I still have a working project. It's based on what I want to build.
Yeah.
Now I know it's like, okay, Dr. Mock is in play. Dr. Mock is our arch nemesis where it writes tests that pass, not tests that work.
Right.
And that's why
So-
it's so important to land.
Yeah. So let's just see what's in Aider right now. So these are in. Okay. You know what? Are these out of the chat or in the chat? Oh, Lordy. Oh, not in the chat. Okay, good. Yeah, I don't want any of that in the chat. Okay, so we're going to add some stuff to the chat. This is how you manually start controlling, landing on a planet, landing in your code, and using the AI tool. Let's just give you a quick crash course on Aider. So we want to, I want to add my features, especially the, was that the metadata? Let's see.
Generation?
Was
I
that
think
the,
so.
I feel like features. Oh, video selection feature, right? That's what that was. And I could add all my features, but I just want to pick on this one, right?
Yep.
And then I want to add features, steps.
And there's just API steps.
Yeah, apparently it put it all in that. So I'd probably tell it to refactor. Well, the warp would refactor
Radon would
it.
catch it.
Yeah. So let's see, real quick, what I would do is I would just ask, are you mocking up the steps, right? And so basically you're mocking up the tests, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Wait, let's read its logic.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Sure. Let's add
Yeah.
it. So we're gonna add. Sometimes it'll ask, what did it want? Main.py and what? Okay,
API
yeah.
steps, which I have.
Okay, so go make the steps either fail loudly or touch to real code. And this is what the please don't mock up data nor put pass or like
Nor.
what's that?
Nor.
Yeah, nor.
Fun fact, O3 uses the British English when it replies, we've been noticing.
Yeah, what did it spell?
Yeah, it's spelled artifact with an E.
Yeah, artifacts.
Yeah, I was like, oh, it misspelled it. And then, of course, I was wrong. The AI was right.
Yeah, that is a way to spell it if you're using British English. So basically, you can come in here, you can guide the project, however you want, manually with the help of Aider, and it goes pretty fast. You can also say, read my feature files. go implement real steps or make them fail, right?
Yeah, but most importantly, we're still on the rails.
Yeah.
Like, we haven't succumbed to the vibes so bad where we don't know what's going on. We don't even know how it's solving the problem. We told it how we wanted to solve it. We gave it our user journey. We gave it our business rules for the application, and it's following it all the way through.
Yeah. And so I feel pretty comfortable letting it, I feel comfortable letting this go like whole lunchtime or even overnight.
Yeah. I mean, we could all just set off a warp loop
Yeah.
and do a captain's log
Yeah.
and
So,
then tune in the next episode.
yeah. So, and for you out
Oh,
there,
whoa, whoa, whoa.
yeah. If it starts changing your features, you kind of want to be like, what's going on? But sometimes it's good. Sometimes it's important for the feature to be lined up with the step.
Mm-hmm.
So
Oh, yeah. So added
it's talking
invalid
about
YouTube video or video not accessible.
yeah. And remember, you did that invalid URL.
Mm-hmm.
So it's okay to let it change the steps. So it's all right. But so you just want to kind of keep an eye on it. And I can't remember if the warp loop, but there is a way to tell the warp loop like, hey, features are going to be read only,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, but just a lot of technique, to using BDD.
Yeah, and let's summarize. Captain's log is at the end. We actually talk about kind of
Yeah.
just a recap of the episode and where we are at in the project.
Okay.
So to recap, we had blueprints. This is ignition. What did we do? We actually created our initial Fast API project. We
Yeah.
did this programmatically, so it's everything set up. Back to the honeycomb principle.
Mhm.
We laid down the original hexagonal patterns. Context, we did that as well. Back to the hexagonal patterns. We further engraved them, and not only did we sort out the business rules, state diagrams, DDD for the AI, we also did for ourselves.
Yeah.
We're prompting the AI is prompting to be us to be very explicit in how we want things done.
Yeah.
And now, your pride and joy. The warp code.
Yeah. The warp code is just like a pleasure to use, right?
Mhm.
I kind of get a rush out of it, right?
Yeah.
So like, I know I'm going to burn a few million tokens, sure, right? But if I know those tokens are probably going to a good purpose, I'm really happy it burned them up.
Mm-hmm.
So, and honestly, I got to say, Gemini 2.5 Pro, like the cost of just blasting through warp, I don't mind.
I don't either.
Yeah. And sometimes I get asked, like, can you use this process for enterprise coding? And yeah, you can. Like, if you put enterprise features, well-designed enterprise features, there's no reason like you can't put security or whatever it thinks you need.
Yeah, and that's one thing we'll actually be showing shortly. We're working on a ship called the Django class,
Yeah.
which has a full Django class security implemented, JWT tokens, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah. So, pick a framework that's appropriate. And sometimes we talk about paying your tech debt up front, right?
Yes.
So like you can start with like a fast API, Jinja template, or plain vanilla JavaScript, but you got to be honest with yourself. If you're going to have a database that needs migrations and then like security, you might want to look at a framework and go for a bigger class of a ship that's more in line. It might be harder to get that working at first.
Mm-hmm.
But once that is working, you kind of paid your tech debt up front.
Yeah, and it's maintainable. The AI, you have a subject matter expert on it with the AI yourself, and you're no longer throwing people at the problem, you're throwing intelligence.
Yeah. So there you go. So that's kind of our steps that we go through. And do you want to do an actual captain's log? Like sometimes when I leave a project and I'm going to come back to it, I literally do the following. I mean, so add a to do MD to remember where we are at. You don't really have to do that because you can just blast through the features again. But like it's nice to see like a priority list or
A checklist.
yeah, a checklist is a great thing just to add. Tell it to whoa. It's trying to
Ader just wants to work.
Okay. Slow down, Ader. Okay. And then and you could literally just say make a captain's log and tell it what you want.
Yeah.
So yeah, do we need a captain's log or is our to-do
I
list
mean,
pretty good? No, I'm not.
put on the blindfold, buddy,
I don't want to. Why did I come up with this goofy thing?
and switch to where people can see you, please.
It's more fun.
Well, go back.
It was
Now go back to the
hold on.
screen.
All right. It was more fun
Yeah,
when I
this
did
is
this
perfect.
to you. What-
Yeah, so give me a second.
Am I
Ready?
am I leaving a captain's log?
Yes.
All
Give me a
right.
second. Go. Wait.
All right. Captain's log. Make a captain's log.md file and put the following in there. Mention that we made a utility called ignite 4-fastapi.py and that we use that to warp using the starship-fast API JSON file, and that we need to come back and do some more.
Totally different experience, isn't it?
All right, we don't need that in there. Actually, one thing I want, one thing I meant to leave in my captain's log would be like, there's something I want to change in that JSON. But all right, so we don't need all that. Cool. Yes to that.
Just jokes, folks.
Yeah, just joke, folks. All right. So this, it's just kind of hard to, remember where you're at. Oh, let's run behave.
And let's see the final score. So we see unimplemented steps in yellow. And
So this runs behave across your whole project.
as you can see, we didn't let warp continue.
Oh, here we go.
So our final score is 2 features passed,
Nice.
5 scenarios passed, 42 steps passed. That's incredible.
That is really cool. That was a very short warp too.
Yeah.
I mean, we do warp for hours and going in and out of warp and things like
Yeah,
that.
and before you're like, that's crazy, where it's like some projects have 10 features, 50 scenarios, and 700 steps.
Yeah, I
Like
mean,
that's common.
yeah. I mean, we always recommend like get those features and steps as small as possible. Even if your MVP's got to have more features than that, it's still satisfying to kind of do bite-size core functionality, core functionality,
Yeah.
right? And just get that to a point where you can like land in your project, see it running, and then just ask it to add another feature. Hey, add another feature file called this that does this.
Yeah, and on that note, I want to talk about another piece.
Okay. go ahead.
With the features and being able to add features as the project evolves,
Yeah.
the project evolves with features based on feedback from the users.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, we're trying to build sticky software that gets used.
Yeah.
And when you talk to the users, you communicate at the feature level.
Yeah.
And then they can learn to communicate. It builds a standard language. That was the whole reason for BDD and Gherkin language. It's supposed to be a unified language between the technical people and the business people.
That's right.
And that's the most fun. And doing it this way, now as you're building the features, it maintains the code through the entire project. We could run behave and it tests the entire project.
Yeah.
So you no longer hit the complexity wall.
Yeah. The complexity wall is serious. So like any AI tool that you're using to whisk you along and do this coding, right? Like people hit that wall of complexity very fast, right? And then they said, well, I'm going to start adding architect documents and project documents. And then they hit a little bit more complexity and they're like, well, let me remind it to have a to-do list that it keeps up so it doesn't get off track.
And this goes back to even like enterprises who have legacy software. You fix a part of the code in section A and section C breaks.
Yeah, it totally forgets it.
Yeah, you not even AI, just like in general programming.
Oh, right. Yeah. No, that can
yeah,
happen to anybody.
and that goes back to like you didn't pay your technical debt, and then your code base is so big it's unmaintainable.
Yeah. No, that's true. And so another thing that's helping people get past the wall of complexity is like MCP servers have come along.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's doing a good job of the AI not getting confused, realizing there's tools and all those messy tools, it doesn't have to keep in its context, all the details of what they did. And so it can be a coach at a higher level and kind of call the shots, right?
Mm-hmm.
But even that's going to hit a wall. And you're still going to wish you had these Starship Agentic tools and techniques, right? You could recreate these tools. It's just a technique, right?
Yep.
The technique of including BDD in your MCP server, I predict you're gonna see that in the next 3 months. Like even if we don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
So
And if you look at our old YouTube videos, we've been on this for a while.
yeah. so what I mean, the MCP servers are cool, but they still have to call a tool at the bottom line. That tool rubber meets the road somewhere, and it's got to do some work somehow, right? And so like the signals we're going to be producing with tools from radon or, the cyclomatic complexity, the tools will produce from the screenshots and from the BDD and then the unit test. You put all those together, you're going to expand and get past that next wall of complexity. You're going to push it out.
Yep.
But let's be honest, as you push it out, that just means the AI can help you auto code more and more stuff, right? But you are going to be you're still going to be faced with, you're still going to have to jump in the code. We're not saying you don't have to land and jump in the code and learn from it, right?
Always jump into the code and
Yeah.
know your code base.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, this is Captain Gherkin signing out.
Captain BD Datum.
All right, man. Rocket ship. See you next time.